Hey howdy hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Last week I had the pleasure of playtesting a game that's very early into its development named Ascendant, an extraction shooter where 3 teams of 3 drop into the game and fight to successfully secure objectives. Now outside of me not knowing really anything about this game, I did however see a lot of my content creating friends play this at some point in time. So I figured what the hell, why not try it out? So let's go ahead and talk about what I love and hate about Ascendant. I also have a really good Q&A towards the end of this video, so make sure you stick around for that. But before we get into it, and if it ain't too much to ask, make sure you like and sub for more content like this. Okay, let's get into it. Ascendant is being developed and published by Planet Fusion, who also have another game out on Steam called Lightseekers. According to Planet Fusion, Ascendant is a quote social FPS PvP extraction shooter where multiple teams fight over limited resources in an ever-changing map where no 2 games are the same. This game is in a pretty early alpha-like state and is being developed on UE 5.1. My initial reaction when playing this game was it needs a lot of work, but when compared to footage from their first playtest, these guys have made some strides in progress. Let me go ahead and break down some of the things I loved about this game real quick. Let's start off talking about the area where you are going to spend a lot of your downtime. This lobby area where you will queue up for matches and choose quests is the central hub, and it kind of reminds me of the central hub from the Cycle Frontier. I brought that up to the devs and they all laughed and said, yeah, we get that a lot, so hey, at least they can take a joke. Within this centralized hub, you have a plethora of things to engage with and explore, like an area for purchasing weapons, engaging in quests, a firing range, and a time trial area to hone in your skills. The inside of this hub looks a bit basic, but everything I talk about that involves graphics will get brought up later during the Q&A. Let's move into talking about the weapons and loadouts. This game allows you to completely build your loadout and take it into every single match. The selection of firearms this game gives you are a fully automatic battle rifle, a laser rifle, a pistol with infinite ammo, a shotgun, and a sniper to boot. The environment, even though it was in a weird transitional period between white box and fully rendered, looked really damn solid, and I can see what they were going for with the environment. Within this environment, you have some NPC snails. You heard me right. Goddamn snails that you can kill to get ammo, power, which is used to buy things, and even armor. While playing on this map and testing out the weapons, the game mechanically felt like Apex Legends meets the Cycle Frontier, and depending on who you are, this is either really good or really damn bad. For someone like me who thinks Apex Legends is worse than being stabbed by a crackhead at 3 AM outside of a 7-Eleven gas station, I genuinely thought I would hate the PvP aspect of the game, but to my surprise, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. It's not anywhere near perfect and it needs a fair bit of cleaning up, but I'll break it down later in the video. Within the environment, besides killing a whole bunch of damn snails, there are PvE encounters that randomly happen, and when you complete the encounter, you can unlock the vehicle that was being guarded to get armor, weapons, power-ups, etc. Another pleasant surprise I had came about when I discovered that there were vehicles in the game, and the vehicles actually feel good for it being so early in development. While playing in one of the sessions, we'd gained control of a module, and we went to go deposit it at an offload site. We noticed that it was pretty far away, and when my twin brother Blackout tried hopping in the vehicle, one of the devs pointed out that you actually can't get into the vehicles with the module. They do that on purpose because it encourages more PvP encounters in the environment. At first I was a bit confused, but then I thought that's actually really fucking genius. In every game we played, the PvP encounters were plentiful and a bit challenging, but I never felt like I got shafted when I died. The experience was genuinely solid overall, and I had a damn good time playing. Now, with all of the good things I talked about in this game out of the way, I want to move on to some things I did not like that need a little bit more work done to them. Aside from the environments and lighting needing more work, I think the sound staging needs more tuning. The gun sound staging in comparison to the environment sound staging feels really light, non-menacing, and needs more thump behind it. For a battle rifle, especially a fully automatic battle rifle, I expect some auditory kick, but there isn't hardly any at all. If you're looking for some auditory inspiration on how to make a battle rifle sound like a battle rifle, I would recommend digging through some of the weapon sounds in Destiny 2. One issue I brought up to them was the movement felt a little bit spongy. The movement controller feels stable, but it doesn't feel as tight as it needs to be, if that makes sense. Turning in different directions on a dial while in a battle feels like I'm either moving faster than I should or I experience a little bit of a hiccup and lose momentum. The guns and the recoil patterns are also on the spongier side than anything. The recoil on the battle rifle is like fighting a fucking bull that's angrier than all hell. Is it controllable? Yeah, in short bursts, but in full auto, you're gonna be hard pressed to hit much of anything unless your sensitivity is super low. So aside from everything I just talked about, let's move on to some of the Q&A I mentioned earlier, or if you happen to skip to this section of the video, you missed a lot. I reached out to Hugo and Benny, who are 2 of the devs working on this project. The first question I asked is, will the game cost money? And Benny responded with, quote, yeah, but the exact price point has not been decided yet. The next question I asked is, will Ascendant go into Steam's early access? access, and the response given was yep, at least that's the current plan. The third question I asked Benny goes as follows: will there be any microtransactions / pay to win assets in Ascendant? Benny's response was, quote, there won't be any pay to win, and if we actually do any microtransactions, it will be purely cosmetic, no actual in-game power, end quote. That tells me that they may not even do microtransactions in this project, which could pose issues farther down the line. The last question I asked was, when is Ascendant projected to release? And Benny gave me one hell of a response. Benny stated, quote, we're hoping to have an early access later this year. What you've played obviously didn't have art. We've been working on the art pipeline and gameplay in parallel. Gameplay has purposefully been kept separate so that we can iterate more easily on the map layout and game mechanics. And we want the game to be fun even without art. Getting swayed over by something being pretty but without fun and or longevity is not something we want to do. In addition to working on improvements and iterations gleaned from public playtest and player feedback, we are right now in the process of merging the art and gameplay together. The reason why I'm bundling that into this answer is because this is ultimately what will dictate when we feel the game is good and performant enough to go into early access. Hoping for this year, but we're still not setting any dates in stone yet. So right now, as it sits, these guys are quite literally creating this game and banking its success on the words and experiences of their community. I'm usually not a fan of community generated games, but this may potentially be an instance where it's done more so right than wrong. Let's go ahead and talk about what I think about this game. Ascendant in its most simple form is a very fun arena style extraction shooter. It takes heavy inspiration off of Apex Legends and the Cycle Frontier, but for me personally, it does a lot of things those titles could not do for me. The gameplay was engaging, the environments were weirdly intriguing, and the gunfights drove my goddamn blood pressure through the roof, but it was fun. That's the issue a lot of games like this suffer from, is the lack of uniqueness and fun factor. I've played my fair share of extraction shooters to include the Cycle Frontier, and in many regards, this game does more for me than the Cycle could ever do for me. That's not me being biased, that's me being real. If the team watches this far into the video, I have a price recommendation for you guys. Since your biggest competitors are going to be other shooters within the extraction shooter and battle royale space, make the game $10 or maybe even 15. Reason being, you're developing on UE 5.1, which is expensive. And even though the idea isn't the most unique idea ever, it still gives a new take on what an extraction shooter could be. Offer a $5 battle pass and a $10 legendary battle pass. And with no pay to win shit, you don't have to worry about public outrage. And for your advertisement, just get a whole bunch of small creators on this project talking about it. Advertise the game by getting actual feedback from the creators and blast it out onto the internet. I want to see this game do well because of the people behind it, and there are genuinely good people over at Planet Fusion. All of their socials will be down below in the pinned comment, and I will continue to cover anything and everything Ascendant related on this channel, so make sure you hit that sub button, that like button, and bing bong that notification bell for more content like this. And as always, my name is Redbeard Mortis. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you guys in the next one, but until then, I'm gonna go punch Gary the Snail some more. See you in the next one.